stand to my feet now because Queen, do I need to stand up now? And there you go.
All right. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Chatting with the Clays. Episode always sounds so formal, even though we're just having conversations here. My name is Quentin Clay. I am so excited to be here speaking with my parents, Pastor Gilbert L. and First Lady Mary J. Clay from Miracle Central Church in Waterloo, Iowa. And we just want to take a moment because we're expanding what we're doing to welcome our listening audience. Although we started these weekly conversations broadcast through Facebook Live, eventually over to YouTube, we are now welcoming listening audiences from iHeartRadio, from Google Podcasts, from Spotify Podcasts, from Apple Podcasts, from Radio Public, and also Stitcher. So for those of you who are listening,
and Pandora now.
Oh, and Pandora, yes.
And
Let me
Pandora.
get that right. Our Pandora family is in here now. Thank you. But we wanted to welcome the listening audience, in addition to the viewing audience, to another episode. Just a quick recap of what we're doing here. Myself, being the youngest of Pastor and First Lady's 3 children, we've been just led and inspired to have conversations that are really reflections on life, purpose, challenges, perspectives on a range of issues. I don't want to just say current events. Some of it is historical. We're talking about God's love, and we just simply want to encourage you, all of our listeners and viewers, as we just walk through things in life that parents and pastors talk about with their children, with their members, and with all of those that they're connected to. So we hope you all enjoy these informal conversations. And with that, we will get this episode kicked off this week. So good afternoon, Mom and Dad. How are the two of you doing?
Good afternoon.
Oh, hello.
We're doing well.
Doing well.
A little warmer than we were last week.
Well, thank you.
A little warmer than we were last week.
My goodness, yes. And I know the listening audience can't hear, but I got a turtleneck on today. I said this is probably, hopefully, the last Sunday that I'll be able to put a turtleneck on. Hopefully it's warmer from this point forward. But it's here in the Midwest. I know I'm in Illinois. You all are in Iowa. But here in the Midwest, we're just watching the snow kind of melt away, and we're getting the rain and still a little bit of the residue that comes out of that precipitation. But I'm with you. I hope that we have turned the corner and we head for the spring. So let's take a guess at what we're going to talk about this week. I am going to just throw it out there. And Dad, you tell me where you think I'm going. The subject for today's conversation, and again, we know it's not a Bible study. This is just a conversation, but we're going to get excited and get all into that. But we're talking about bodybuilding. Dad, what crosses your mind? Bodybuilding. First thing that came to your mind, other than
a spiritual house.
A spiritual house. Absolutely. Good. There we go. You see what I'm saying? That's good. Mom, what comes to your mind?
Health.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Here we go. We're checking off the boxes going down the road, right? Well, I won't keep you in suspense. Those are 2 good guesses, 2 connections here to where I'm headed. But I like to frame these episodes with the theme. And the theme of bodybuilding, I was thinking about 2 things. One, marriage and relationship. And then 2, I was thinking about you 2 being pastor and first lady there at Miracle Central for over 20 plus years in ministry, for over 40 years. The way you all equip and encourage the body of Christ and help us think about what it means to be connected to a body of Christ. I know we're all in our own individual relationships with God. We're on our own spiritual journeys, but at the same time, the Bible speaks about, through the voice of God, we've seen recorded in the Bible, so many different things that talk about the body. There's a point for us to connect with one another. There's a purpose for that. And no matter the individual journeys, and we know throughout the course of the pandemic, we haven't at all times been able to fellowship in the same way that we've worshiped and fellowship in facilities, temples, and churches and all that. But there's purpose. There's purpose to being connected to the body. And I think especially coming through this pandemic at the stage we're at, it's important to revisit the purpose of how we are connected. So I'll come to the connection to the body of Christ or the church formally a little bit later here, and just some of the questions I'll ask. But I want to just start first thinking about relationships. We know back in Genesis, as it relates to Adam and Eve, there was some language that was used about the two becoming one and how they were connected, right? And becoming essentially one person. And I've been married for going on 7 years here. And, we have our son, Ethan, who at any moment can just break in the doors and disrupt this broadcast. But we're also in the final stages of welcoming our second child, our second baby boy, will be here very, very shortly. So I thought some of the conversations we were having recently are hilarious and probably good for the show. Let me ask you all this question as I taper this conversation down. Of your children, and I want you just to give me the first thought that comes to your mind. We're gonna name each of your 3 children, and you tell me what percentage of that child's personality you think reflects you, and then what percentage reflects your spouse. So, Mom, I will start with you. What percentage, and we call him Son, but this is Gilbert Jr., what percentage of Son's personality do you think reflects you, and what percentage of his personality do you think reflects Dad?
I think probably 60%
reflects me. This is going to be good leverage. I mean, this is good for the conversation today. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be ammunition. Yeah.
Hey.
I'm glad this is being recorded.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed at all. So this is your firstborn into his early 40s. Mom, you're saying 60% your personality, 40% Dad's?
No, I say 60% mine, 20% Dad's, and 20% his own.
Oh, there you go. That's actually real smart to throw that distinction in there. Yeah, there you go. Exonerate yourself. All right, Dad. So Mom says Son is 60-20-20, 60% her, 20% you, and 20% him. What would you say about Son, his personality? Just first strike.
60-40.
60-40?
60% of his mother, 40% of his father.
Okay, that's good. I'm gonna come back to some of the whys behind that, but it's gonna be crazy. I'm a blindside y'all in a second. Okay, so Misha, your middle child, your only girl, what percentage Mom, if her personality is you, what percentage personality Dad? And if you want to throw what is her of her own making, you can continue to do that too.
Percentage me, I think she's probably, I'd give her a good 30% my personality.
30%.
And I'd give her let's say 30, I give her of her dad, I give her probably about 30%.
30? Okay. Got 30, so there's 40 dangling out there.
That's 40 is her.
All right. Dad, what would you say about Misha?
I you know what? Believe it or not, I would give her 30 and 30.
So then where's that last 10 coming from?
On a daily basis, it changes.
Misha, I'm gonna call you after this. So for our listening audience and viewing audience, they may not know the 3 of us. They may not either know us at all or know us well. They may not know you all and your personalities well. But the first question of the day, what would you say influences, just from your opinion? We're not going off into psychology theory and some of the sociology theory and all of that. But from you all's recollection, what are some of the things you believe have contributed to how much of your personality? Oh, you got one more kid.
Oops, I was going to say, what happened to the third kid?
I almost left myself out. Well, I didn't want to bore people if they don't know it. So
Oh,
hang on, you
And I'm
all.
so glad that you're so considerate of the
See, I
viewing
didn't want to
audience
bore
and listening
people. Yeah,
audience.
yeah. You know how considerate I am, Dad. You go first on this one, Dad.
On
So,
you,
what percentage of me is you? What percentage of me is mom? What percentage of me comes from anywhere else?
I think you are. You know what? I think you're 50-40. 50, 40, and 10.
Okay.
Well, let's see. No. Well, why don't we even it up? Why don't we go 40, 40, and 20?
40, 40, 20?
40,
Okay.
40% of your mother, 40% of me, and 20% that you evolved within your own.
Okay. That's fair. Mom?
40, 40, and 20.
40, 40, 20. Gotcha.
Mhm. Now I would say you 50% your dad.
Only
And
the parts
then
that you love. Okay.
50% dad. And I'd give me about I give me a good 35%.
35%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And 25% yours.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So we'll come to that. We'll come back to that. So back to that question, and Dad, go ahead if you would and start, sir. From your experience, what are some of the things that you believe? And this is just the opening question, so we'll hit this one quickly. We'll keep moving. What do you think is an influence, and what contributes to how much of your kids' personalities are shaped by either parent?
The influence.
Yeah, where does that influence come from? How have you all, and how do you contribute to shaping the personality of your children? Not intentions, but actually what comes out in the end.
I, I'm thinking personal experience.
Mm-hmm. So when you
Uh,
say personal experience, you mean personal experience in terms of interacting with that child? Like, go a little bit, clarify that for me.
You're talking about how we're shaping the children.
Yep.
Right.
Yes,
So
sir.
the personal, I think the personal experience comes from what we experience.
Okay, your experiences.
My
Gotcha.
experience. And then
The parents' personal experience. All right, I'm writing this down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that one?
Yep, I'm following you now. Yep.
Personal experience, my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then the drive to give the best to that child.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say the drive and understanding that child, and then giving that child the best that you can give that child.
Okay.
And go ahead.
So then what you're speaking to, and I'm clarifying, I'm sorry, I'm not cutting you off. So when you say understanding, you're saying some of what you're observing out of the child and then
Correct.
going back to
Correct.
and changing the formula, tweaking it.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Because I don't know if you wanted that part. I wanted to add.
Oh no, that's really good. I'm glad you did.
I think when you look at a child and see different characteristics and seeing where they're at, I think you're not trying to change that. I think you try to nurture the things that are can be beneficial to that individual child, and you move to that instead of trying to alter that and change it to be like somebody else. So that development, because it's so exciting to see, and I'll use our three children, y'all, the way y'all are different, but yet you have a found of the fundamentals are the same, but you're different, and I think that has to be nurtured.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of I don't want to say strategizing, but understanding
Absolutely.
collectively. Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful. Yeah. Mom,
Mhm.
take your first swipe at it.
They can't see that. They can't hear that.
She
See
swiped.
that?
She
Now,
swiped at me.
got it. See,
You
remember,
got
I
it.
got it.
Yeah. You
Yeah. Yeah.
The listening audience couldn't see the swipe that
Swipe
she made
is
at
an
me.
actual word. Okay. Swipe is an actual word.
Swiper.
But I think in shaping children's personality, a lot of it is heavily influenced by the parents' training.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it's also in the parent the parents probably trying to steer their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Again, always trying to make sure you get the best out of your child. So you're always trying to steer their behavior in the direction that you feel like is the right way.
Yeah.
And again, I think what you said, Pastor, is good. Not trying to really change their personality, but I think in a sense we do, because we try to move them in the direction where we feel this is better behavior. This is better behavior. Like if a child acts out, has temper tantrums, you don't encourage that. You try to keep them from doing that, because in the long run it's not going to be a benefit to them. When they go to school, they can't have temper tantrums and it be okay in the classroom. So you do the things that you try to let them know what's best for for their behavior. So I think that has a lot to do with influencing their personalities as well. And then we know those are those, what do you want to call them? Maybe your innate personality traits as well that you're just, you're born with.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do. When you look at your children and you see, or they do little things, it's like, wow, that's me. Those are things that you neither steer or train. Those are the things that come out, and you're like, hey, that I see that. I see me in that.
Can I add something to that?
Sure, please.
It can go another direction too. Husband and wife can say, they can look at it and say, that's your child.
Oh, there they go. Yeah. That's all that's where I'm headed. Oh, there they go.
There's that clay coming out of them.
Clays in them.
There's that dog coming out of them.
Yeah.
And you're going to have that. Actually, it will make you laugh at times and cringe at other times. Because
cringe is a strong word there.
I know.
I'm trying to tell you something. You know good and well that there's some stuff in each and every family that you try to turn your head another direction or bury your head in the sand, but I guarantee it's going to come up through them children sooner or later. And the parents are going to look at each other and praise God that you look at on a good day, because sometimes when there might be a little agitation in the air, and that child steps up or comes home just in time, from college, you purchase a car, they come from college, and then you look at the car and it's been wrecked and you ask what happened, and but anyway, something like that can happen.
And then you say,
and that's them Dawsons.
There they go. See, look, now the audience can't see what I have in my hand.
Well,
I want you all to know I have a white sealed envelope that I'm about to break open during this episode. This is monumental. We go to the next level with the show. I have a white envelope that I'm gonna break out, and I want you all to remember everything that you're saying now. Audience that's listening, especially on Facebook and YouTube, y'all go ahead and type in the comments when you want me to open this envelope. And if y'all push me to open this envelope, I'm opening this envelope since we take shots at each other. Yeah, I'm sitting here with my mom and dad. They're supposed to be nurturing and caring and kind. They're taking shots in front of the world. That's all right. We're opening this envelope today. and getting down to it. So you know, that's really interesting. The only other thing I would add in, and clearly, since you know, I thought of some prompts for the conversation today, I had a running start. But the only things I would also add in terms of how we influence and shape, you know, our children and personalities, the circumstances clearly around the child's birth, right? And then also the age and life experiences that we've had also kind of fall on that 1A, 1B to the circumstances. You know, I got married later than you all in life. I got married, I think I was 30 years old when I got married. You all got married in your 20s. So there's a little bit of runway that I had in life through the time that I actually got married. And then I think we had Ethan maybe 3.5 years into our marriage. So, you know, I was much older than you were when you had son. So all of the problems and all of the issues that he has, you know, Ethan, you know, has that advantage because, you know, son is crazy by virtue of how crazy y'all were when y'all were young people.
Oh, I wait.
Came out shooting.
Let me see. I got the envelope too, I think.
You're always crazy.
But you can't be talking about
is nuts. He is
but you can't be talking about people's children.
I am talking about people's children. I'm talking about, as a matter of fact, not people's children. Dad, I'm talking about your children. No. But no, all that to the side. See, there's folks typing in, the comments are open the envelope, open the envelope, open the envelope. Here. I'm about to, matter of fact, to keep my promise, I'm just going to start making a little incision here on the envelope. I'm teasing about my brother. But no, the age that you are, the things that you experience up into the time that you have that first child certainly contribute. Where you live in the world, you know, if you live in the suburbs, if you live in the city, if you live in a safe neighborhood, if you live in an unsafe neighborhood, you know, if you live in a high rise and you don't have a yard, you know, versus if you live in a space where you have access to outdoors, there's all kind of different things, you know, what kind of job you work, what kind of hours you're working, you know, are you supervising people, you know, are you not supervising people? Do you hate your boss while you're pregnant, you know, or do you love your boss? All those circumstances, when we really dig into it, they influence, you know, how we nature and shape. They keep typing in. I have to keep making this decision longer. But I throw that in there. But when we're talking today in this conversation about bodybuilding, here come the curveball. Preacher, where you going? Let me turn the corner, like my dad would say. But here's the big old 360-degree deuce in the quarter. Turn the corner, swirl, right?
That's that deuce.
Nowadays, you turn with just a little degree, you know, you don't have to, but we're gonna turn like the cars dad was driving when he was starting to drive.
That's right.
Like you washing the windshield, you got to do the Miyagi, turn the corner in that car. But what becomes interesting is probably the hidden feature in all of this as it relates to the influence of your children's personalities starts with the parents, the two of you. Before you have children, right? Who are you? What are your personality traits? What things do you gravitate to? What things bother you? What things irritate you? I made the comment not long ago, and I believe this is true. Mothers probably raise their sons to be the improved version of the child's father. Right? They say, well, if I'm not a male and I have a male child, then I'm gonna look at the child's father, and clearly I think he's the best thing since sliced bread, and I'm gonna see if I can improve upon the formula and make it even better. And mothers push that because they're not males themselves, and fathers probably do the same thing. They probably look at their wives, and because they're males and the daughters are females, they may look at their daughter and say, okay, my wife, hopefully, if not wife, you know, we understand life happens, right? But my child's mother is the best thing since sliced bread. Hope you all feel like that. And I want my daughter to be the improved, the 2.0 version of sliced bread, sliced loaf, right? And it's interesting to kind of think about that because we look at the best within ourselves and we also look at the best within that other person, that other parent, and we try to improve the formula. We try to mix it better, right? We try to amplify. This is good, let's make it better. Or if this ain't so good, let me go ahead and massage that out of this kid because I don't like that. And people shifting.
Can we say let's make it good?
Let's make it good, right?
Good.
So, with all that being said,
oh Lord,
bodybuilding.
Here comes the envelope.
And when we talk about, here's the envelope's open, you all. When we talk about bodybuilding, especially as it relates to influencing our children and grandchildren and nieces and nephews, all that, but children mainly, it starts with two people. It starts with our recognition and appreciation for the other person, whether you're together or not, right? It's that appreciation for the other person. But as I mentioned in my comments, maybe there's some things that you don't appreciate about that other person that outside of and regardless of parenting, you got to take some time to spend, because if you all are joined together and you're connected and you're one, you got to work on that body first, right? You know, if you don't like your arms, you go work out. If you don't like your legs, you go work out. You don't like your hair, you get hair implants, or you brush and use a wave cap, and wrap, you get a wig, you get some weave, whatever you do. If you don't like it, you deal with it. We got to be bodybuilders in this life. We have to make improvements upon ourselves. And when we're in relationship with other people, we have to be able to constructively make improvements in the context of that relationship. Because your relationship, the strength of that relationship is built on the strength of the individuals involved. So I got this white envelope. They keep saying open. Man, they want me to open this thing. I got this blank envelope. And again, we are at the tail end of our pregnancy. So Karen wasn't able to join us on camera on the show today. But Karen contributed to this episode. My wife contributed to this episode by giving me a sealed envelope. Now, what was in this envelope, I had no influence over. I haven't had a chance to read, but I let her know what direction I want to go in on the show. And she agreed to contribute. And I said, oh, wonderful. So I get this white sealed envelope that I'm going to reveal live for the show today. And on the envelope,
I love you dearly.
Don't read it yet.
What'd you say, Ma?
I told Karen, I love you dearly.
You know what she says on the outside of this? 3 annoying things my husband does. Unbelievable.
Ooh-wee.
Well,
there you go.
Here we go. 3 annoying things my husband does. So we're gonna start here talking about bodybuilding. And the handwriting is so good. It's like at least you could have made me feel like you didn't think this through, Karen. You're gonna take time and write it all neat, like this is all intentional, like this is a legal document or something. That's okay. So 3 annoying things about my husband. Annoying things about my husband that made me better. Oh, did y'all hear that?
Yes, we did.
No.
And said annoying things about my husband that made me better. On the outside, it just said 3 annoying things about 3 annoying things that my husband does. But now it says on the inside, annoying things about my husband that made me better. Okay, all right, I feel better. I can read this now. Number 1. Let's see here. Number 1, always going the extra mile. I'll take that. I think I can read into why that's annoying, but let me see here. Always going the extra mile. This has helped me be a better employee and produce good and quality work. Helped me build a great resume and rapport in pharmacy school. She's gotten her doctorate in pharmacy, so she's a clinical pharmacist. So, okay, that's excellent. Wow. Okay. Always going the extra mile. So the question is, when is that a bad thing? If it's annoying, I don't know. Mom, you'll have to chime in because Karen's not here. So that was sweet. Thank you, honey. I appreciate the compliment. How it helps you be a better employee and build a great resume and rapport professionally. That's awesome. But when you say this is annoying, now I gotta dive into that. Mom, how can always going the extra mile be annoying?
Oh, now that trait is definitely your dad's trait. That is definitely. He always goes the extra. Sometimes it costs money. Sometimes it costs time, and sometimes it costs energy. And most of all, sometimes it costs what you don't feel like putting out.
Ouch. Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is related to arguments. Like, is it because I don't shut up quick enough or something? Or I'm always trying to make my point, always going the extra mile. if it's annoying, that means something. I don't know. I don't know. And let me go to number 2. Let me see here.
Well, it's annoying because you love it. We don't necessarily love it, but we love it. He loves it. He loves going the extra mile.
Isn't that called work ethic and perseverance and persistence and dedication and determination? Isn't that going the extra mile? But that's annoying.
Annoyance.
That's all right.
It is. But
That's
it can push, like Karen said, it can push the good out of people sometimes. You know, you looking and just seeing one more step and pushing the person to one more step, you know, or one more thing, or to the next level. You know, it can produce good. It really can.
Don't you drink, Clay. Hey, don't you take a drink. No, you talk.
I have a lot to say, but go ahead. I'm listening.
Really, that and Karen's spot on. That trait is that's where you and your dad are alike, a lot alike. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna move to number 2 here. Okay. I know we halfway through the show. Let's see here. Ooh. Do I gotta read these? All of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
open the envelope.
Okay, so again, the envelope on the outside said 3 annoying things my husband does. My wife wrote this about me. On the inside, it says it got softer, and you know, it says annoying things about my husband that made me better. Number 1 was always going the extra mile. Okay. Number 2, I'm gonna read this as she wrote it. Correcting my articulation and how I pronounce words.
No, that's my trait.
Okay. So
I'm just waiting. I get a. I'm just waiting until it's my turn.
So this is what she said. So number 2, annoying things about my husband that made me better. We're talking about bodybuilding, all right, you all. Relationships and how we make each other better. Bodybuilding.
This body.
Correcting my articulation, Karen said, and how I pronounce words. It helped me communicate with physicians, nurses, and be better at my job. It helps me represent myself in the best way. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. Dad, go ahead, jump in there. So if this is a annoying trait about me that Karen shared that makes her better, how is this annoying? You know, she talked about the ways it helps her, but how is this annoying, Dad?
First of all, that's one of the traits that you got from your mother. I don't have a envelope. I got a whole file cabinet. Now, when you, I think our viewing audience and our listening audience, not unless they have this in a person in their life like that. When you're married to a school teacher or professor, it's you really become a person that at one time you were a person of many words, but you find out over a span of time that you become a person with few words. And not only that, but at one time that you were so
go ahead, let it out, Dad.
You were able to flow so smooth in discussion and conversation. I mean, your articulation was so fluid. But now you really think more about what you say before you say it, because there is there's a rebuttal
There's not a rebuttal
that is constantly there. And so instead of you getting rebutted, you just like, okay, just start nodding your head.
Wait a minute. So hold on. Now I gotta get my bearings again. Pastor Clay, Miracle Central Church of God in Christ, over 20 years pastoring, district superintendent, national officer, all of that in your resume, in ministry over 40 years. You get rebuttals?
Yes, sir. Now you know what this is.
Lady, YWCC president, Iowa jurisdiction, author of the manual, lesson writer, 40 years of ministry, 25 years past.
Let me tell you something. I have really become a lover more of the Bible, the King James Version, than ever before.
Yeah.
Because when I study and read something like when it says it needs be that offenses come against you, I'm so excited. It needs be because it's not in the English text and form. They really talk like
they don't say it that way.
They talk like I talk, and I'm so comfortable.
Dad, you talking Old English?
Yes, sir. I like Old English. Because I can flow with Old English. And nobody corrects the King James Version.
No.
They accept it.
Whither thou shalt straightway.
That's the way I like it. There you go.
Needs be. Yeah.
And nobody worries about dotting the I and crosses the T.
I know that's right, Mom. He said, I get that from you. My wife put on paper
you get that from me. Listen, I've never in my life, and this is how it's made me better. Do you not know that now I can read a magazine or a book and I can pick out all of them that they've made, different writers. And at one time I didn't pay no attention, but now I'm saying, that's wrong. Oh, they forgot a period.
Bodybuilding,
they didn't pause.
Genesis says the two become one. So you have now taken on the annoying trait. Okay. Karen, you
used to be annoying, but you know what? Listen, there are two persons that and you and your mother, y'all bounce off each other because y'all can look at, and y'all are writers. Y'all have the gift of when the writer said and history has declared that the statement was made that the pen is mightier than a sword. Y'all have the ability to write, and you know what's funny? Y'all love it. Y'all can write pages of letters and read it to each other and say, "Oh, that is so nice." And I'm looking at that bad.
No, we're going to number 3, Dad. You done took up. Listen, Dad found his. Karen, I'm tell you, girl.
Thank you, Karen.
You opened this one up. Dad ran right on through. He's Barry Sanders. He ran right on through the.
Up that football. Put my head down.
Oh, so today we're talking about bodybuilding. We're talking about the way we come together in relationships to strengthen one another, make each other better. And then especially, the residual impact goes, infinitely, even in parenting, the way that we shape our children. But it starts with the two. It's about bodybuilding. It's about the relationship and helping each other become better. So I read the first 2 items that my wife had in a sealed envelope that she handed to me before the show. 3 annoying things my husband does on the outside. Then it got softer and sweeter on the inside. Annoying things about my husband that made me better. Number 1, always going the extra mile. Number 2, correcting my articulation and how I pronounce words. Here we go. Number 3. Y'all ready for this one? Facebook wall is going crazy here. Okay. Oh, folks are chatting and throwing this out there here. Number 3, my wife wrote in all capital letters, overprotective.
Do what?
She wrote overprotective. Overprotective. Yeah. All capital letters. Now everything else, she followed proper grammar and syntax here. But she writes this in all capital letters. Overprotective. And I guess the way that it's made her better is I've protected our family from harmful things. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you, Karen, for contributing to the show with these wonderful 3 things in the letter that you submitted. So overprotective. How's that annoying?
Yeah.
How's that annoying?
Because that's
She wrote
should
how
you
it was
ask?
helpful, but y'all tell me how it's annoying.
Can
No,
I?
I was saying that was my trait, but you are too.
But you know, that is, matter of fact, this is something that your mother and you don't understand.
Okay.
And it's possible that you can later on, but right now, y'all don't have a clue.
Okay.
I'm the only one that's right. Well, not the only one, but I'm the person this afternoon that has the only daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother is not your sister's father.
Mm-hmm.
You have two sons.
Mm-hmm.
So as a father is protective of his daughter, because that is the covering. The man, and the way God has made the body is that the man, he's the head, he's that protector.
Mm-hmm.
And we are very protective. Not only that, but we have the insight of an eagle,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the ability to look at the sun and don't blink.
Oh, there it is. There it is, Doc. You there. You right there. Stay there.
Now, when we can soar and see food for prey,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we go after.
There it is.
Then we bring it back to the nest.
Yeah.
And you will never, I don't care how old you get,
Mm-hmm.
when you are bodybuilding,
Mm-hmm.
there's always that protector there. Now,
Absolutely.
you can get so old that you may not be able to run to defend, but there's a length of a cane that you can purchase.
There it is. Hitman.
That still have the curve of a shepherd's staff.
There it is.
That you can reach out and snatch and pull.
Now, Dad, you know you didn't answer the question, right? How is it annoying?
Because and let me tell you why it's annoying.
Please, Dad.
Because children get to the age and they'll remind you that I'm grown.
You know, this is my spouse that said it's annoying. How's it annoying to her?
I know. And you feel that even with your spouse, it's like, I know what to do. I'm here. I'm strong enough. And we're not saying you can't, but it's just that DNA in us that you always will be protective. And sometimes it's not saying that you can't protect yourself, but that's that a next layer of protection that oftentimes people say they don't need. For instance, in Iowa, it's cold out. You got a coat, you got a scarf, and I may say, listen here, do you have a sweater on underneath of that? Because you need a little more protection. Yeah, there you go. And sometimes it's like,
I'm gonna try that, Dad. I don't know if that argument's gonna work. I'm gonna throw it into. I got an app in my head. It's an app that doesn't exist, but it's a 70s jive app. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to tap into that 70s jive and say, "Hey, baby, you ain't mad at me. It's just my DNA, baby.
It's just."
Just play that.
It's just my DNA. I'm just trying to protect you, girl. I'm gonna throw it in there.
Listen, Mom, and I'll stop. But even with your mother, sometimes I'm reminded that she's an adult, and then she'll let me know you're not my daddy.
Ooh, that was a curveball.
First lady. Oh my Lord. Okay. Mom, let me get Dad off the pilot light there. And how is being overprotective again in this letter, which I got consent from my wife to include her input in the show. She put in the letter. She wrote 3 things that are annoying. That third, we went through the first 2, but the third is being overprotective. She talked about how it enhances and makes her better, makes our relationship better. But how is this annoying? And I'm getting text messages, everything else. Misha sending me text messages. All this stuff is popping up while we talk. Everybody's sending text. So how is this annoying? Help me.
Being overprotective.
Uh-huh.
Because I think the annoying part probably is because I think I'm overprotective too. And he's always saying, I got this. I got this. You think I don't see? I got this. I got this. You know, it's almost like you don't think I'm capable of handling what I need to handle. So I think that might be the annoying part. It's like, you don't think I can see this. You don't think I'm capable.
So you hear it differently. You see it's perceived as a deficit.
I think so.
Okay.
Okay. Because it's like, you know, like when he goes into his overprotective mode, I'm thinking, I got it. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to worry. I got this. Don't you think I can see or whatever? And so, yeah, I think that could be the annoying piece of it. You know, it's like, hey, you know, you don't have to do all that. I got it. I got it. You know.
Now let's be fair, because I do think there's some gender stereotypes that get into this, because I think it's more common for us to say the following: men, or in reference to a man, blank is overprotective. But isn't it the same thing when we say blank or women are private? Because when we talk about being overprotective, let's talk about the way you do it too, Mom. You're very private. You're very, very guarded. Even the fact that we're doing this show and we're in the 3rd season, people don't understand how much of a miracle that is, because you wouldn't get on the camera and read your ABCs. You're so private. And it's like, Mom, that ain't even showing nothing about you. Like, no, I don't want people to hear my voice.
This is a baby talk.
Yeah, I don't want them to hear the pause between the letters and think that I stumbled and didn't know the next letter. Mom is super private, and I get that. I honestly get that from you, Mom. As much as I get a lot of, you know, the lion carnage, you know, ready to completely, as Dad would say, totally eradicate, you know, opposition, you know. And I'm like that, because Karen can tell you this sometimes we've been in public and somebody has brushed by her and I went by and bumped her with my shoulder and turned and looked, and she's like, what are you doing? You know, so I've gotten better. But I also get some of that overprotective from you, Mom. But you as a female, maybe in one of the few ways, you know, that the stereotypes work for you all, you get to be called private. And I remember when Ethan was born, and even to this very day, and y'all know me, so you're gonna laugh, I don't like people taking pictures of Ethan. I don't like videos of Ethan. Karen may take a picture of Ethan, and I look and stare her down like, why are you taking a picture of my son? What you gonna do with it? What do you use it for? Who you sending it to? And she looking at me like, boy, this boy is here because of me. What do you know? But I am very overprotective and guarded like that, you know, and even to this day. But to that point, Mom, do you think sometimes women get a pass on being overprotective because it is guised under the she's private?
She's private, or yes, I think so. I think they get a pass because either she's private or, you know, that's just the mother in her.
The mother in her.
Yeah. And like I said, you know, on a couple shows before, you know, I'm the mama bear. I protect, you know, my children, you know. And I think some of that even spills over into my husband. I know he's not my child, he's my husband, but I'm saying, you know, he has my back. I need to have his back too.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
You know, like he looks out for me, I look out for him. You know, I mean, he's a human being, and he has vulnerabilities just like I do. You know, so I don't want, and I think he's such a kind person. He is such, you know, his personality is such, like I said, he's over accommodating to people. He'll give his last for people. He'll go the last mile. He'll push. He'll, you know, he'll do whatever it takes to make people comfortable or make things possible for them. And when I see that being violated, it just, I go somewhere else.
It's leaders too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
that's
that that part in him. I know he's a man, you know, and I know he can take care of himself, and I know he can be a lion and a bear at the same time. But that's still my husband.
And he is a lamb. He's a lamb too. He's a gentle lamb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Curly hair, wonderful, soft, curly, delicate hair. He's a lamb.
Keep it up. We have another envelope. Keep it up.
And you made a good point. But you know, and this is a part of the bodybuilding, because as much as you know, we talk about the strengths and maybe things that are annoying, therefore we perceive them or throw them in the category of a weakness. There are those pieces that are absolutely complementing. And had we not had a God who paired us with someone who would challenge us and help cover our vulnerabilities, and just frankly look at things from a perspective that we don't see, we would not be whole. You know, we would not have the ground covered. Even in the range of protection, there is protection and there's safety, the Bible says, in the multitude of counsel. And the first level of counsel, you know, would be that person that God gave, you know, to your side, you know, that partner, that spouse, you know, whom you are walking through and guiding or navigating life with. And that also guides the way that you raise your children, because there's ways that, you know, Karen perceives what our son and forthcoming son need that I don't look at. And there are things that, you know, maybe aren't high on my list, but they're high on hers. And the good thing is our lists aren't identical, because it's more of a complete list when we see things the other person doesn't see. So, you know, that's a part of the bodybuilding that I want to introduce to this lesson. But if you all could, we have about 8.5 minutes here left. Help us start to flesh out perspectives on ways that we can come together. You know, if we're in a relationship, if we're in a marriage, or even we can dovetail into if we're seeking. How can we better appreciate and navigate, you know, the differences that represent themselves in a marriage and in a spousal relationship or relationship that we're trying to grow into a marriage? You know, what ways can we navigate, and how can we better embrace some of those differences?
I think one of the first thing is just to recognize that that is the difference between you and your mate. You know, whatever that thing may be, that is the difference between you and your mate. You know, and we are not the same person. You know, and I think a lot of times that we probably forget after we get in a relationship, but that's the thing that really attracted us to the other person, is that difference.
Oh,
you know,
that's good. Yeah.
So, you know, so trying to make someone like you or trying to dissolve what's different, you know, to make it like yours, I think. So just really recognizing that that's the thing that makes you different, you know, and accepting that, because I think a lot of times we work on trying to, and we say we don't, but we do, trying to change people, you know, because if there's something that we don't necessarily agree with or like, we'll spend hours in discussion over, because I'm trying to get you to see my point and you're trying to get me to see your point. So what is that? You're trying to change somebody's way of thinking or somebody's way of viewing things, you know? So just, I think just accepting the fact this is where we're different here, because again, as the old cliche goes, we can agree to disagree, or we can agree to be different.
Yeah.
Don't. Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah. And you know what? Let me just put this recap on top of what Mom was saying. I thought this was good. Mom gave us the point of, you know, when you're in a debate or a conversation, seek understanding as opposed to, you know, pursuing the goal of changing a person's mind. You know, sometimes those conversations are better when the goal is actually, okay, let's understand one another. And once we reach an understanding, then maybe that's when we should let the thing die off and not, you know, what was what did Karen say? I open back up this envelope. Always going the extra mile. Maybe don't go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Stop at trying to reach an understanding instead of persuasion. Go ahead, Dad.
Don't let your differences become your enemy.
Ooh,
We
man, that's
can
heavy. Y'all swinging today. Go ahead.
we can we're different, and that's one of the things that brought us together because of the differences. But
Yes,
then
sir.
our differences, that can become our enemy, and the person that is that different, you will look at that person as your enemy, and the only thing that you're really looking at is they're just different.
Mhm.
You know, um, that's a good thing, because differences is just like preparing a meal.
Mhm.
There's different items on the plate, that brings the meal together. And sometimes different seasonings or spices can enhance a meat or
Yeah.
vegetable or something.
Yeah.
So don't let differences become the enemy in between the people. And something that we have to understand, that we all are from different neighborhoods.
Mhm.
In that neighborhood, up and down the street, people are raised differently, but
Yeah,
you
because you're
still,
from the east side and I'm from the west side.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
and you got to cross the
Mhm.
water to get to
Y'all
the
still
east
gang
side.
banging.
And see, on the west side, you have to, before you cross the water, you had to strap up, you
See,
know.
tell them.
But when you got to the east side, you can relax, and
No,
you could
when you
you
got
could you could cruise together. You know what I'm saying? But on the west side, you have to lock the doors,
all
roll up the windows.
See, y'all
So
still gang banging. Y'all still
don't
gang banging, taking shots.
don't let the differences become the enemy in your relationship.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then mom, as again, we talk about bodybuilding, and if we didn't put those two things together in Genesis, there's the reference between Adam and Eve, as they entered, covenant, how those two became one, and it's interesting how that built the body up into a whole versus strengths lying without of one another. And then of course, when we go to Ephesians, and if you all ever listen to Dad's ministry, you're going to get a regular dose of Ephesians. It's like Robitussin, it's like Tussin. Dad's going to make sure you understand that your gifts, your callings come together for a purpose, and that
Yes.
is to edify the body of Christ and to reach the
Yes.
lost. And Dad will give you Ephesians with regularity to make sure you understand that. But I appreciate that, especially as it relates to the understanding, and especially when you get down to the latter half. I think you get to, now I'm gonna do my dad thing, you get to about Ephesians 4, and I believe it hits the 7th verse, and it carries you through the end of the chapter, how that body is unique, is fitly joined together, right? And there's complementing parts. And the foot might have to walk all day, and it might be all sweaty, it might stink at the end of the day, but if that foot didn't stink and get sweaty, then you didn't do no walking, there wasn't no movement. And the eyelashes might be all pretty and they're there for show, but what good is the show? If there's no movement to get you to the show, So there is a level of appreciation for all the pieces of the body. But even as we started the conversation, Mom, talking about raising children, I do also want to open back up to that piece of conversation. What advice would you give us on, just raising children and trying to do the best you can, regardless of the circumstance, whether you're a single parent or co-parenting, whether you've gone through divorce, or if you're, under the covenant of a marriage, what advice could you give us to bodybuilding as it relates to building up, those children whom God have entrusted to your care?
Again, just observation is huge. Just watching that child and seeing their strengths, recognizing what their strengths are, and even recognizing what their weaknesses are. And I came from a family where they pushed to get the best out of us. We were pushed, whether it was academically or in the sports arena or whatever.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
and so, sometimes children have a resistance like we do, and they may say, I don't want to do something, certain something. But again, you as a parent, if you see that in them, if you see that gift, if you see that little niche in them, you know, it's up to us as parents sometimes just to bring that out of them and know that kids may resist, but you do what's best for them, you know, because again, if a child knew how to parent themselves, they wouldn't need a parent.
Correct.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
a child could themselves,
Yeah.
they wouldn't need a parent. They would come here all knowing, you know, but that's not how it works. So, you know, and know that even as a parent, a child will give you some resistance at some point. And that's them growing up, you know. But it's up to us to guide them and give them guidance. And sometimes we just have to give them a little nudging, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And nudging may be even discipline, but you know, you can't be afraid to, because some of the things that we see, again, because we have the wisdom. We have the wisdom. And sometimes we know what's best, but you know, and one other thing I would say, you know, don't try to live your life through your children. Again, recognize who they are and push them
Right.
can be.
Right.
But don't try to live your life through them.
Absolutely. And let me, and I'll give Dad that final word as we come up on our time. Let me also reiterate what you were sharing, Mom. I think that's really powerful for this generation because you all are parenting adults and you've parented children and you've stepped into grandparent roles, which isn't parenting, not the same thing, it's complementary, but you all have done a wonderful job in my eyes. But also, I appreciate that perspective of not trying to live your life through your children. That's not always pushing your children in the areas that you would have wanted to go into and you're living vicariously, but also through your pain, because sometimes parents parent their children, you know, through their pain and from, you know, a guarded position, and not because, you know, any of us are idiots where we would just say, I've been through something and, oh, well, we'll see how you do, you know, but I do think sometimes we have to be very careful and introspective and prayerful and really go to God to help us with some of the hurts that we still carry as adults while we have children, because I can't say that I'm completely healed and whole, even though now I'm charged to parent. You know, I'm still healing. I'm still seeking that wholeness, even though I am also at the same time being and operating and stepping in the office of that parent and that guidance, you know, for my household and for my children. So we do have to be very, very careful, even as relates to not living our hurts and resolving our hurts, you know, through our children as well. But Dad, go ahead and give us your final remarks here. I think we're a couple minutes over, so we need to close, but also share any advice that you would have for us, especially as parenting in the concept of bodybuilding.
No, I'm trying to make this real quick. I recall my only daughter, your sister, and I wanted beautiful baby. That's the most prettiest baby you ever saw in your life.
She was a gorgeous
oh my
baby.
goodness, beautiful baby. She's still gorgeous now.
Yeah.
But I said I wanted her in ruffles and dresses, no pants, nothing. And send her to school and want the ruffles, the dresses. I wanted her to be the princess. And your mom said, listen, she's going to get out there and play, and she's going to scratch up her legs and whatnot. Dress that girl in some pants. Well, I wanted just a dainty princess. I didn't want her to box. I didn't want her to play football. Nothing. But she ended up playing football with the boys.
All right, man, we're at the end of the show. Now you're going through memory lane. Come on, sir. We got to close out.
And I'm saying, listen, you know what? This is my point. We know reality. And we can't guard and protect our children from the things that we want to. Some things they have to learn. They have to fall down. They have to scrape their knees. They have to experience that. Even when your children are grown, we still try to guard them. But some things you can. And praise be to God, that's what prayer does. And covering your children. amen, to protect them. So we can't let fear overtake us from to where we're too protective of our children. Some things they're going to learn. Some things they learn at home, and some things they have to learn by what we call the school of hard knocks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, that's a powerful and appreciated perspective. But thank you both for joining us again and just sharing in this casual conversation, chatting with the Clays. We appreciate our audience that's listening, that's watching iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Stitcher, Facebook Live, YouTube. Thank you all for tuning in with us. And remember to like and share. And as Mom would say, leave us a comment and let us know that you were there. Until next time, God bless you.
Ring the bell.
And hit the notification bell. You got it, Dad. We'll see you all again soon. Take care.
Take care.
God bless.
God bless you.
My brothers and sisters, I pray that this was a blessing unto you. First Lady Clay, would you like to say anything?
Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell. Leave a comment. God bless.